A doctor adopted an orphan girl just to look after her sick daughter, one day when she arrived. Hello, welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any stories. Dr. Olivia Pearson's office at Millbrook General Hospital was silent that autumn afternoon. The white walls, decorated with diplomas and photos of smiling patients, seemed to watch her as she sank into her leather chair, her eyes fixed on a photograph on the table. In the picture, Amelia, her 12-year-old daughter, was smiling radiantly, her blue eyes sparkling with a vitality that had long been hidden under the veil of illness. Olivia sighed, running her fingers through her brown hair. Exhaustion was evident on her face, but there was something else in her eyes, a fierce determination, fueled by a mother's unconditional love. "Dr. Pearson?" The soft voice of her assistant Nancy brought her back to reality. "Your next appointment has been cancelled. Do you want me to take the other patients forward?" Olivia hesitated for a moment, then shook her head. "No, Nancy. In fact, I think I'll go home early today." The drive home never seemed so long. The tree-lined streets of Millbrook, normally a comfort to Olivia, today seemed like a blur as her mind wandered. The idea that had been hammering at the back of her mind for weeks now screamed out, demanding attention. As she entered the house, silence greeted her. Amelia was upstairs, probably resting after another session of physiotherapy. Olivia climbed the stairs, her heart heavy with the weight of countless sleepless nights and dashed hopes. She stopped at the door to Amelia's room, watching her sleeping daughter. Amelia's pale face was serene in sleep, but Olivia could see the signs of her constant struggle with illness, the slight tremor in her hands, the thinness of her arms. "Hey, Mom," Amelia murmured, her eyes slowly opening. Olivia approached, taking a seat on the edge of the bed. "Hi, sweetheart. How are you feeling?" "Tired," Amelia replied with a weak smile, "but the physio was good today." Olivia stroked her daughter's hair, feeling a wave of love and protection. It was at that moment, looking into her daughter's brave eyes, that Olivia finally verbalized the thought she had been cultivating. "Amelia, what do you think about having someone else in our family?" Amelia's eyes widened with curiosity. "What do you mean, Mom?" Olivia took a deep breath. "I was thinking, what if we adopted a child? Someone who could be a sister to you, a companion." For a moment the room was silent. Then, to Olivia's surprise, a genuine smile lit up Amelia's face. "Really? That would be incredible." Amelia's enthusiasm was contagious, and Olivia felt a wave of relief and hope. In the days that followed, mother and daughter plunged into the adoption process with a new sense of purpose. Weeks turned into months, filled with paperwork, interviews, and moments of anxiety and anticipation. Finally, on a sunny spring morning, Olivia received the call that would change their lives forever. "Dr. Pearson, we have a little girl who we think would be perfect for your family." Olivia's heart leapt. "When can we meet her?" 2 days later, Olivia and Amelia were at the Hartford Children's Home, their hands intertwined as they waited. The door opened, and a social worker walked in, accompanied by a girl with golden hair and bright green eyes. "Olivia, Amelia, this is Lucy," the social worker introduced with a warm smile. Lucy, at 10 years old, seemed to be a burst of contained energy. Her eyes traveled around the room, finally landing on Amelia. For a moment, something indefinable passed between the two girls, an instant connection that made Olivia hold her breath. "Hi," Lucy said shyly, a small smile playing on her lips. "Hi, Lucy," Amelia replied, her face lighting up in a way Olivia hadn't seen in years. At that moment, Olivia knew she had made the right decision. The love emanating from Amelia, the hopeful curiosity in Lucy's eyes. It was as if the universe was confirming that this was the way forward. The following weeks were a roller coaster of emotions. Lucy moved into the Pearson house, bringing with her a small suitcase and a heart full of hope. The adjustment wasn't easy. There were moments of confusion, tears and uncertainty. But there was also laughter, hugs, and the slow but steady formation of bonds that promised to be unbreakable. Olivia watched in amazement as Amelia gained a new energy in Lucy's presence. The two girls spent hours talking, sharing stories and dreams. Lucy, for her part, blossomed under the love and attention of her new family. One night, while the girls slept, Olivia sat on the balcony of her house, looking up at the stars. Silent tears streamed down her face, not of sadness, but of deep, overwhelming gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered to the universe. "Thank you for this second chance, for this new hope." The wind whispered back, carrying with it the promise of better days. Olivia didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in a long time, she felt truly optimistic. With Lucy in their lives, a new light had entered their home, illuminating even the darkest corners. As the night wore on, Olivia made a silent promise to herself, Amelia, and Lucy. No matter what came, they would face it together. Because now they were more than just a family. They were a home, united by love, hope, and the courage to start again. The morning sun filtered through the curtains of Amelia's room, gently illuminating the girl's sleeping face. Olivia stood in the doorway, watching her daughter with a mixture of love and concern. The last few months since Lucy's arrival had been a roller coaster of emotions, and today would be no different. "Mom?" Amelia's sleepy voice broke the silence. "What time is it?" Olivia approached, taking a seat on the edge of the bed. "It's still early, dear. How are you feeling today?" Amelia struggled to sit up, a shadow of pain passing across her face. "I'm okay. Just a bit tired." Just then, a cheerful laugh echoed down the corridor. Lucy ran past the open door, her golden curls bouncing with every step. "Good morning, Amelia. Good morning, Dr. Olivia." The contrast between Lucy's vibrant energy and Amelia's fragility was palpable. Olivia saw a glimmer of something. Sadness? Envy? Flashed through her eldest daughter's eyes. "Lucy, darling," Olivia called out gently, "why don't you go and set the table for breakfast? We'll be there in a minute." As soon as Lucy had left, Olivia turned to Amelia. "Is everything all right, my love?" Amelia hesitated, biting her lip. "It's just, sometimes it's hard, you know. Lucy is so full of life and I—" "Oh, darling," Olivia hugged her, feeling her daughter's fragile body tremble slightly. "You're amazing just the way you are. Lucy has brought a new energy into our home, but that doesn't detract in any way from how special and loved you are." Olivia's words seemed to calm Amelia down, but the doctor knew that this conversation was far from over. Over the next few days, Olivia carefully observed the girls' interactions, looking for ways to strengthen the bond between them. One afternoon, while Amelia was resting after a physiotherapy session, Olivia found Lucy sitting alone in the yard, distractedly playing with some flowers. "Is everything all right, Lucy?" Olivia asked, taking a seat next to the little girl. Lucy looked up, a mixture of emotions in her gaze. "Dr. Olivia, sometimes I feel like I'm in the way. Amelia seems sad when I'm around." Olivia's heart squeezed. "Oh, Lucy, it's nothing like that. Amelia is going through a lot with her health, and sometimes it makes her sad. But she loves you." "Really?" Lucy's eyes lit up with hope. "Absolutely." Olivia smiled, an idea forming in her mind. "In fact, I think I have an idea of how the two of you can get closer." The next day, Olivia prepared a surprise. She transformed the living room into a small home cinema, with cushions scattered across the floor, and a selection of movies she knew both girls would like. "What's that?" Amelia asked, curious, as Olivia helped her settle between the cushions. "A family movie afternoon," Olivia explained with a smile. "Lucy, you can choose the first movie." The next few hours were magical. Olivia watched with a full heart as the girls laughed together, commented on the scenes, and, little by little, grew closer physically and emotionally. At the end of the second movie, Lucy was gently leaning on Amelia's shoulder, both asleep. That afternoon marked a turning point. In the days that followed, Olivia noticed subtle but significant changes. Lucy began to show a more caring side, always asking how Amelia was feeling and offering help when she could. Amelia, for her part, seemed livelier, often asking Lucy to join her in reading stories or playing board games. However, the challenges persisted. There were days when Amelia's pain was more intense, and she closed herself off, rejecting everyone's company. At these times, Olivia was torn between looking after Amelia and making sure Lucy didn't feel rejected. One evening, after a particularly difficult day, Olivia found Lucy crying silently in her room. "Lucy, what's wrong?" Olivia asked softly, sitting down next to the girl. I just wanted to help Amelia today." "But she didn't want anyone around," Lucy sobbed. "Did I do something wrong?" Olivia hugged Lucy, feeling the girl's tears wet her blouse. "No, my love, you didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes when Amelia is in a lot of pain, she needs time alone. It's not your fault." "But I want her to get better so much," Lucy whispered. "I know, darling. We all do," Olivia replied, her voice laced with emotion. "And you know what? Your presence here, your love and your joy, have helped Amelia more than you know." In the days that followed, Olivia worked tirelessly to maintain balance at home. She organized special moments with each of the girls individually, making sure they both felt valued and loved. With Amelia, she spent hours reading her favorite books or simply talking about her dreams and fears. With Lucy, I explored the backyard, planting flowers and creating little adventures. But the most touching moment came unexpectedly. One night, as she passed Amelia's room, Olivia heard soft voices. Peeking through the ajar door, she saw Lucy sitting on Amelia's bed, holding her hand as she read a story. And then the princess realized that her true strength came not from her magic, but from the love she felt for her kingdom. Lucy read, her voice full of emotion. Amelia listened attentively, a small smile on her lips. "Thank you, Lucy," she whispered when the story ended. "You're the best sister I could have asked for." Olivia felt hot tears running down her cheeks. There, in that simple, precious moment, she saw the promise of a future where love overcame all odds. Silently, she moved away from the door, her heart overflowing with gratitude and hope. The journey was far from over, but now she was sure. Together, as a family, they could face whatever challenges life threw at them. The sharp sound of the alarm cut through the early morning silence, rousing Olivia from a restless sleep. Her eyes opened instantly, her heart racing with painful familiarity. Next to her, Amelia's monitor flashed red. "Amelia!" Olivia jumped out of bed, running into her daughter's room. Amelia was sitting up in bed, her face pale and sweaty, struggling to breathe. Olivia acted quickly, years of medical training guiding her actions. With precise movements, she adjusted the oxygen equipment and administered the necessary medication. "It's okay, sweetheart. Mommy's here," Olivia whispered, holding Amelia's hand as the girl's breathing slowly normalized. A movement at the door caught Olivia's eye. Lucy was standing there, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. "Lucy, it's okay," Olivia said, trying to keep her voice calm. "Amelia just needed a little help breathing. Why don't you go back to bed?" But Lucy didn't move. Instead, she slowly approached the bed, her eyes fixed on Amelia. Can I stay here?" Olivia hesitated for a moment, torn between the desire to protect Lucy from the harsh reality of Amelia's illness and the need to include her in this aspect of their lives. Finally, she nodded. The next few hours were a silent vigil. Olivia watched, with a mixture of pride and sadness, as Lucy gently held Amelia's hand, occasionally whispering words of comfort. When the sun finally began to rise, painting the room in soft shades of pink and gold, Amelia fell peacefully asleep. Olivia guided Lucy out of the room, feeling the weight of tiredness and emotion. "Dr. Olivia," Lucy spoke softly when they reached the kitchen. "Amelia's going to be fine, isn't she?" Olivia felt a lump in her throat. How to explain the complexity of Amelia's situation to a 10-year-old? how to balance honesty with the need to protect. "Lucy," Olivia began, choosing her words carefully, "Amelia has a very serious illness. Sometimes she gets very sick, like tonight, but we're doing everything we can to help her get better." Lucy nodded slowly, processing the information. "Can I help you in any way?" Olivia's heart filled with emotion. "Oh, Lucy, you're already helping so much. Your presence, your love, it means so much to Amelia, and to me too." Over the next few days, Olivia noticed a subtle but significant change in the dynamic between the girls. Lucy, now more aware of Amelia's fragility, showed surprising kindness and patience for someone so young. She started reading stories to Amelia on days when she was too tired to get out of bed, and learned to recognize the signs of when Amelia needed space. Amelia, for her part, seemed to find strength in Lucy's constant, loving presence. There were difficult days, of course, days when the pain was too much, when the frustration with her body's limitations spilled over into tears and anger. But even in those moments, Lucy was there, a silent, comforting presence. One afternoon, while Amelia was resting after a particularly difficult session of physiotherapy, Olivia found Lucy in the yard, sitting alone under the old apple tree. "Is everything all right, darling?" Olivia asked, taking a seat next to the little girl. Lucy looked at Olivia, her green eyes filled with a wisdom beyond her years. "Dr. Olivia, I'm afraid sometimes, afraid that Amelia, that she—" "Oh, Lucy." Olivia pulled her into a hug, feeling the tears burn her own eyes. "I'm afraid too. But you know what? The love we have for each other, the love you and Amelia share, it gives us strength. It helps us face even the hardest days." That night, Olivia decided to do something special. She transformed the living room into a makeshift campsite with blankets hung up to form a tent and cushions scattered across the floor. "What's that?" Amelia asked, her eyes shining with a curiosity Olivia hadn't seen for a long time. "An indoor adventure," Olivia replied with a smile. "Tonight, we're going to camp out here in the living room, tell stories and look at the stars through the window." The hours that followed were magical. Olivia watched with a full heart as Amelia and Lucy laughed together, sharing secrets and dreams. For a moment, the illness seemed a distant reality. Later, with the girls asleep side by side in the tent, Olivia allowed herself a moment of reflection. The journey so far had been difficult, full of challenges she never imagined she would face. But looking at her daughters, because yes, Lucy was now just as much a daughter as Amelia, she felt a wave of gratitude and hope. Amelia's illness was a constant shadow in their lives, but it wasn't the only thing that defined them. There was also light, love, and moments of pure joy like this. And with Lucy by her side, bringing a new energy and perspective, Olivia felt that maybe, just maybe, they could face whatever the future brought. As the moonlight filtered softly through the window, Olivia made a silent promise to herself and her daughters. No matter what came, they would face it together. Because in the end, it was the love that united them that made them truly strong. The late afternoon sun was painting the Millbrook sky in shades of orange and pink when Olivia parked her car in the garage. Exhausted after a long day at the hospital, she longed for the comforts of home and the smiles of her daughters. However, as she opened the front door, she was greeted by an unusual, heavy silence. "Girls," called Olivia, her voice echoing through the seemingly empty house. On entering the living room, she found Amelia and Lucy sitting on opposite sides of the sofa, an air of tension palpable between them. Amelia, usually expressive, kept her eyes fixed on her hands intertwined in her lap. Lucy, meanwhile, was looking out of the window, her normally cheerful face marked by an unusual seriousness. "Hello, darlings," Olivia tried, her heart racing with concern. "How was your day?" "Fine," Amelia replied, her voice low and distant. "Okay," murmured Lucy, without looking away from the window. Olivia felt a knot forming in her stomach. Something was clearly wrong. But what? Her doctor's mind immediately began to catalogue possibilities. Was Amelia feeling worse? Was Lucy having trouble adjusting? Or was it something else, something she couldn't see? "Is everything all right?" she asked, trying to keep her voice calm as she sat down between the two girls. "Yes, Mom," Amelia replied quickly, almost too quickly. "We're just tired." Lucy nodded in agreement, but her eyes met Amelia's for a brief moment, charged with a meaning that Olivia couldn't decipher. That evening, while preparing dinner, Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that something important was happening right under her nose. The silence during the meal was broken only by the clink of cutlery and occasional requests to pass the salt. Later, with the girls in their rooms, Olivia found herself standing in the hallway, hesitating. Should she go in and try to talk to them individually, or respect their space and wait for them to come to her when they were ready? Indecision consumed her. As a doctor, she was used to diagnosing problems and finding solutions. But as a mother, especially the mother of an adopted daughter still adjusting, the terrain was much more delicate. Finally, she chose to give them space, at least for the night. She retired to her own room, but sleep was slow in coming. Her mind was spinning with possibilities and worries. The next morning, determined to address the situation, Olivia prepared a special breakfast, pancakes with strawberries, a favorite of both girls. "Good morning, darlings," she said when Amelia and Lucy entered the kitchen, still in their pajamas. "I thought we could have a family breakfast today." The girls exchanged quick glances before sitting down at the table. Olivia noticed, but decided not to comment, at least not yet. As they ate, Olivia began casually. "You know, last night I was thinking about how our lives have changed over the last few months. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?" Amelia looked up from her plate. A flash of guilt flashed across her face. "Yeah, it's been different." "Different good or different bad?" Olivia asked softly. "Good," Lucy answered quickly. I think it's good. Don't you, Amelia?" Amelia nodded, but Olivia noticed the hesitation in her eyes. "Girls," Olivia said, putting her fork away, "you know you can tell me anything, right? It doesn't matter what it is. We're all in this together." The silence that followed was tense, laden with unspoken words. Then, to Olivia's surprise, it was Lucy who spoke first. "Dr. Olivia," she began, her voice trembling slightly, "there's something that we need to tell you." Olivia felt her heart racing, but kept her expression calm. "I'm listening, darling." Lucy looked at Amelia, as if asking for permission. Amelia took a deep breath and nodded. "It's about my illness," Amelia said softly, "and about Lucy." Over the next few minutes, the girls unfolded a story that left Olivia stunned. Apparently, over the last few days, Lucy had demonstrated an unusual, almost supernatural, ability to ease Amelia's pain with a simple touch. "I don't understand how it works," Lucy explained, tears in her eyes. "I just feel when Amelia is in pain, and when I touch her, the pain seems to subside." Amelia confirmed, her voice a mixture of fear and hope. "It's true, Mom. Yesterday, when I had that strong crisis, Lucy held my hand and it was as if the pain just disappeared." Olivia was silent for a moment, processing the information. As a doctor, her rational mind searched for logical explanations, perhaps a placebo effect, or simply the comfort of human touch. But as a mother, and as someone who had seen Amelia suffer for so long, she couldn't ignore the possibility of something more. "Why didn't you tell me before?" she finally asked. "We were afraid," Amelia admitted. "Afraid that you wouldn't believe us, or that it might change things somehow," Lucy agreed, her eyes full of concern. "I didn't want you to think I was weird or to send me away." Olivia's heart squeezed at these words. She stood up and hugged the two girls, feeling them tremble in her arms. "Oh, my darlings," she whispered, tears welling up in her own eyes. "Nothing, absolutely nothing could make me send any of you away. We're a family now. Remember." In the days that followed, Olivia carefully observed the interactions between Amelia and Lucy. Although her scientific mind still struggled to understand what was going on, she couldn't deny the visible change in Amelia. Her daughter seemed stronger, more cheerful, as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. One night, while the girls slept, Olivia sat in her office, leafing through old medical books and researching online about unexplained cures and paranormal phenomena. Part of her was still looking for a rational explanation, but another part, the part that had seen Amelia suffering for so long, was willing to accept the inexplicable if it meant a chance of a cure for her daughter. Looking at a photo of the three of them together, taken recently on a picnic day in the park, Olivia felt a surge of gratitude and hope. Whatever the future held, she knew they would face it together. The secret that had once seemed like a threatening shadow now shone like a beacon of hope. Maybe, Olivia thought, sometimes miracles come in forms that we can't fully understand. And maybe, sometimes, all we need to do is open our hearts and believe. The aroma of freshly baked cookies filled the kitchen of the Pearson home, mingling with the sound of children's laughter. Olivia stood in the doorway, watching the scene before her with a smile on her lips. Lucy, with flour on her nose and a beaming smile, was trying to balance a spoonful of cookie dough on the tip of her nose, while Amelia was laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. It was a scene that just a few months ago, Olivia wouldn't have believed possible. "Look, Amelia," Lucy exclaimed, keeping her spoon precariously balanced. "I'm a balancing seal." Amelia, sitting in her adapted wheelchair, applauded enthusiastically. "Incredible, Lucy. Now try juggling eggs." "No way," Olivia interjected, laughing as she walked into the kitchen. "We already have enough flour for cleaning. We don't need to add broken eggs to the mix." The girls turned to her, their faces lit up with complicit smiles. Olivia felt her heart warm. It was hard to believe that this was the same Lucy who had arrived at her house a few months ago, so shy and withdrawn that she barely spoke above a whisper. As she helped the girls clean up the mess and put the cookies in the oven, Olivia reflected on Lucy's journey. The first few days had been challenging. Lucy walked around the house as if she were stepping on eggs, her eyes always alert, as if she expected that at any moment someone might send her away. Olivia remembered a particularly difficult night, about 2 weeks after Lucy's arrival. She had woken up in the middle of the night to the sound of muffled sobs. Following the sound, she found Lucy curled up in a corner of her room, hugging her knees and crying silently. "Lucy, darling," Olivia had whispered, kneeling down beside the girl. "What's wrong?" Lucy raised her eyes, filled with tears and fear. I had a nightmare. I dreamt that you didn't want me anymore and you were sending me away." Olivia's heart broke. She pulled Lucy into a tight hug, feeling the small body tremble against hers. "Oh, Lucy, that's never going to happen. You're part of our family now, forever." That night marked a turning point. Little by little, Lucy began to open up. Her laughter, once rare and restrained, became more frequent and free. She began to share stories from her past, some happy, some painful, and Olivia listened attentively to each one, offering comfort and understanding. The relationship between Lucy and Amelia also blossomed in unexpected ways. At first, Olivia feared that Amelia's condition might frighten Lucy or create a barrier between them. But Lucy surprised everyone with her empathy and care. One afternoon, Olivia found them in Amelia's room. Lucy was sitting on her bed, reading aloud from an adventure book, while making funny voices for each character. Amelia, who was having a particularly difficult day with pain, was laughing and asking for more. It was at that moment that Olivia realized that Lucy was not just an addition to the family, but a blessing. "Mom?" Amelia's voice brought Olivia back to the present. "Are you all right? You seem to be daydreaming." Olivia smiled, blinking away the tears that had formed in her eyes. "I'm fine, darling. Just thinking how lucky I am to have you both." Lucy, who was putting the last batch of cookies into the oven, turned around with a serious expression. "Dr. Olivia, I'm the one who's lucky to have you." The silence that followed was filled with emotion. Then, with a mischievous smile, Lucy added, "Even if you don't let me juggle the eggs?" The three of them burst into laughter, the sound of their joy echoing through the house. Later that night, after the girls had gone to bed, Olivia sat on the balcony, looking up at the stars. She thought about how Lucy had blossomed over the last few months. The shy, frightened girl had turned into a vibrant, loving presence in their lives. Of course, there were still challenges. Lucy still had the occasional nightmare, and sometimes Olivia would catch her looking at photos of her birth parents with a wistful expression. But now, when these difficult moments arose, Lucy knew she could count on her new family. Lucy's impact on Amelia was also undeniable. The presence of her new sister seemed to give Amelia renewed strength to face her treatments. The two had developed their own language of inside jokes and secret gestures, creating a bond that went beyond words. Olivia smiled as she remembered a conversation she had had with Amelia the week before. Her eldest daughter had said with surprising seriousness, "Mom, no matter what happens to my health, knowing that Lucy has a safe home and that we're a family, that makes me feel it was all worth it." A soft movement behind her caught her eye. Lucy was standing in the balcony doorway, her favorite teddy bear snuggled against her chest. "Can't sleep, darling?" Olivia asked softly. Lucy shook her head, coming over to sit next to Olivia. "I was wondering, do you think my parents would be happy to see me here, with you?" Olivia felt her heart squeeze. Slipping her arm around Lucy's shoulders, she replied, "I'm sure they would, Lucy. They wanted you to be loved and happy, and that's what we try to do every day." Lucy nodded, leaning back into Olivia's embrace. "I love you," she whispered. "You and Amelia. You're my family now." Olivia kissed the top of Lucy's head, feeling a wave of gratitude and love. "And we love you, Lucy, more than you can imagine." As the stars shone above them, Olivia reflected on the miracle that was this little family they had formed. Lucy had arrived as a stranger, but was now an indispensable part of their lives. Their evolution was not just a story of overcoming, but a testimony to the transformative power of love and acceptance. And there, in the stillness of the night, with Lucy nestled in her arms, Olivia knew with certainty that no matter what the future held, they would face it together, as a family. Olivia's office at Millbrook General Hospital was silent, except for the soft ticking of the clock on the wall. Sitting in her chair, Olivia stared at the photo on her desk, a recent image of Amelia and Lucy, smiling and embracing. Her heart was filled with love, but also with a restlessness that she couldn't shake off. A soft knock on the door brought her out of her thoughts. "Dr. Pearson?" It was Nancy, her assistant. "Dr. Richardson would like to speak with you, if you have a moment." Olivia nodded, trying to clear the fog of worry that hung over her. Dr. James Richardson, head of the pediatrics department and Olivia's longtime mentor, entered the room with a serious expression. "Olivia," he began, taking a seat in the chair opposite her desk, "how are things at home?" The question, although seemingly casual, carried a weight that Olivia knew well. Over the last few months, since Lucy's adoption, she had felt the stares and whispers of her colleagues. Some admired her courage, others silently questioned her decision. "We're adjusting, James," Olivia replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "It's been challenging, but rewarding." Dr. Richardson nodded slowly. "Olivia, you know I have great respect for you, both as a doctor and as a person, but I can't help worrying. Adopting a child while looking after Amelia, it's a huge responsibility." Her mentor's words echoed the doubts that Olivia carried with her. She took a deep breath before answering. "I know, James. Believe me, it wasn't a decision taken lightly." "I can imagine," he continued gently, "but did you consider all the ethical aspects involved? The impact on your career, on Amelia's health, on Lucy's emotional well-being?" Olivia felt a wave of emotions, frustration, doubt, determination, fighting inside her. "Every day," she admitted. "There isn't a moment when I don't think about it." As she talked to Dr. Richardson, Olivia remembered the nights she lay awake, weighing up the pros and cons of her decision. She remembered the day she had told Amelia about the possibility of adoption. "Darling," she had said, sitting on the edge of Amelia's bed, "how would you feel about having another child in our family? Someone who needs a home, just as you need special care." Amelia's eyes had widened with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. "You mean, like a sister?" Yes, like a sister, Olivia confirmed, watching her daughter's reaction carefully. After a moment's thought, Amelia asked softly, "But what if you don't have enough time for both of us?" That question had broken Olivia's heart, but it had also strengthened her determination to make it work, to find a balance that would benefit both children. Returning to the present, Olivia faced Dr. Richardson. "James, I understand your concerns. Believe me, I share them. But I also believe that sometimes we need to follow our hearts, even when the path isn't easy." She picked up the photo of Amelia and Lucy, showing it to her mentor. "See this? It's more than two children smiling. It's hope, it's family. Lucy brought a light into our lives that I didn't know we needed. And Amelia, well, she's faced her treatments with renewed strength since Lucy arrived." Dr. Richardson studied the photo, his expression softening. "They look happy," he admitted. "It's not perfect," Olivia continued. "There are difficult days. Days when I wonder if I made the right choice. But then I see moments like this," she pointed to the photo, "and I know that somehow we're on the right track." After Dr. Richardson left, Olivia allowed herself a moment of reflection. The doubts and ethical dilemmas hadn't disappeared, but she felt firmer in her decision. That evening, when she arrived home, Olivia was greeted by a scene that warmed her heart. Lucy was sitting on Amelia's bed, reading aloud from a storybook. Amelia, although visibly tired after a day of treatments, was smiling and making animated comments about the story. "Mom," Lucy exclaimed when she saw Olivia. "Come listen to this part. It's hilarious." Amelia reached out to Olivia, pulling her to sit on the bed with them. "Lucy is reading so well, Mom. She practiced all day to show me." Olivia felt tears forming in her eyes. This was the kind of moment that no medical ethics book could capture. It was pure. It was real. It was family. Later, after putting the girls to bed, Olivia sat on the balcony, looking up at the stars. She thought about all the decisions that had led her to this moment, the nights of doubt, the moments of fear, the small daily victories. Yes, there were challenges. Yes, sometimes she felt overwhelmed. But looking back at the road they had traveled, Olivia knew she wouldn't change her decision. Ethics wasn't just about rules and regulations. It was about doing what was right, even when it was difficult. It was about creating a home where love could flourish, where two girls, one battling a debilitating illness, the other overcoming loss and abandonment, could find strength in each other. Olivia smiled to herself. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new ethical questions to ponder. But for now, in this quiet moment of the night, she allowed herself to feel the peace that comes from knowing that, despite all the doubts, she was doing the best she could. And that, she decided, was more than enough. The clock on the living room wall read 3:17 a.m. When Olivia finally allowed herself to sink into the sofa, her hands trembling slightly as she clutched an untouched cup of tea. The last few hours had been a whirlwind of emotions and discoveries that challenged everything she believed she knew about the world, medicine, and her own family. It all started at the end of the previous afternoon. Olivia had arrived home early from the hospital, eager to spend quality time with Amelia and Lucy. When she opened the front door, she was greeted by an unusual silence. Worried, she hurried up the stairs, calling out the girls' names. It was then that she saw it. The door to Amelia's room was ajar, and a soft, ethereal light emanated from within. Olivia froze on the threshold, unable to process the scene before her eyes. Lucy was sitting on Amelia's bed, her hands resting gently on her foster sister's shoulders. But it wasn't a simple touch. A luminous aura enveloped the two girls, and Amelia, her Amelia, who had struggled for years to perform the simplest of movements, was moving with a fluidity that seemed impossible. "Mom!" Lucy's frightened voice broke the spell. The light disappeared instantly, and Amelia returned to her normal state, although her eyes shone with a vitality that Olivia hadn't seen for years. The next few hours were a whirlwind of questions, tears, and revelations. Lucy, between sobs, explained that she had discovered this ability by accident weeks ago. She could, in some inexplicable way, channel healing energy to Amelia, relieving her pain and temporarily reversing the effects of her illness. Amelia, for her part, begged Olivia not to get angry, not to send Lucy away. "She's helping me, Mom. For the first time in years, I feel normal." Now, hours later, with the girls finally asleep, Olivia was struggling to process everything. As a doctor, her rational mind sought scientific explanations for what she had witnessed. As a mother, her heart was torn between the hope of a cure for Amelia and the fear of the unknown that Lucy represented. The soft sound of footsteps interrupted her thoughts. Lucy was standing in the doorway, her eyes red from crying. "Dr. Olivia?" Her voice was almost a whisper. Are you going to send me away?" Olivia's heart broke. She put the cup aside and opened her arms. "Oh, Lucy, come here, darling." Lucy rushed into Olivia's embrace, the tears starting to fall again. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't want to hide it, but I was afraid you'd think I was strange or dangerous." Olivia stroked Lucy's hair, feeling her own tears begin to fall. "Lucy, look at me," she said gently, lifting the girl's chin. "You're my daughter now. Nothing, absolutely nothing, will change that. What you can do is extraordinary. Frightening, yes, but also wonderful." In the days that followed, the Pearson home became a field of experimentation and discovery. Olivia, balancing her role as doctor and mother, began to carefully document the effects of Lucy's healing sessions on Amelia. It was undeniable. After each session, Amelia showed significant improvements in her mobility and energy levels. However, the challenges were many. Olivia found herself fighting the urge to see Lucy only as a cure for Amelia. She knew that both girls needed equal love and attention, regardless of Lucy's extraordinary abilities. "Lucy, darling," Olivia said one night as she tucked the girl into bed, "I want you to know that we love you for who you are, not for what you can do. Your ability is a wonderful gift, but it's not what makes you special to us." Lucy's eyes filled with tears of relief. "Really?" "Absolutely true," Olivia smiled, kissing her daughter's forehead. The relationship between Amelia and Lucy also went through ups and downs. There were moments of tension when Amelia felt guilty for using her sister, and Lucy felt pressured to heal constantly. Olivia worked tirelessly to mediate these situations, promoting open and honest conversations between the girls. One afternoon she found them in the backyard, Lucy pushing Amelia in her wheelchair, both laughing at something Olivia couldn't hear. It was a moment of clarity for her. Regardless of their extraordinary gifts or medical challenges, what really mattered was the love they shared. The weeks turned into months, and slowly, a new normal settled into the Pearson household. Olivia learned to balance her medical skepticism with acceptance of the inexplicable. She continued to document Amelia's improvements, but also made sure that both girls had as normal a childhood as possible. There were difficult moments, of course. Nights when Olivia wondered if she was doing the right thing, if she shouldn't share Lucy's ability with the scientific world. But then she remembered Lucy's frightened eyes that first night, the fear of being seen as different or dangerous, and knew that her first responsibility was to protect her daughters. One night, months after the initial revelation, Olivia found Amelia and Lucy sleeping together in Amelia's bed, a storybook open between them. The scene made her stop, marveling at the bond that had formed between the two. At that moment, Olivia understood that the real miracle wasn't Lucy's healing ability. The real miracle was the love that had blossomed between the three of them, a love that transcended blood, illness, and the inexplicable. As she gently covered the girls with a blanket, Olivia made a silent promise. No matter what the future held, what medical challenges or supernatural mysteries might arise, she would be there for her daughters, to protect them, guide them, and above all, love them unconditionally. Because in the end, Olivia realized, that was what really mattered. Not the diagnoses, not the inexplicable powers, but the love that united them as a family. A love that, she now knew, was capable of healing not only bodies, but also hearts and souls. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment your thoughts. Your participation is very important to us. See you next time.